Those who can see the invisible can do the impossible. Wow. Welcome, focused learners. Today, we are absolutely tearing down the walls of our self-imposed limits and exploring how the expectations we set literally dictate the reality we live in. We're going to dive deep into the undeniable power of mindset and look at how shifting your internal narrative is that crucial first step toward achieving things that seem, frankly, impossible. So, to guide us on this journey, we're unpacking the brilliant insights of a globally recognized mindset coach, Sohail Ahmed. Now, if you aren't familiar with Sohail, he's an absolute powerhouse in the personal development space. The guy is a two-time LinkedIn top voice for 2024 and 2025. He's the founder of 𝗕𝗵𝗁 Inc., and he's known as India's leading self-esteem expert. But why does his work actually matter to you right now? Because his teachings aren't just your standard motivational fluff. They are foundational, highly effective psychological frameworks built for the modern professional. So today, in this explainer, we are going to translate his passionate energy and his life lessons into structured, actionable insights, stuff you can apply immediately to fundamentally shift the trajectory of your own life and career. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, from struggle to global mentor. 2, the equation for success. 3, stories of giant expectations. 4, unlocking your true potential. And we'll wrap up with 5, navigating with confidence. Let's jump right into section 1, from struggle to global mentor. True credibility rarely comes from having an easy life, right? It usually comes from surviving the crucible of personal hardship. And Sohail is a practitioner of resilience, not just a theorist. Right before his 12th grade results, which is obviously a super critical time in any young person's life, he experienced the tragic, sudden loss of his father. And this devastating event, it understandably triggered a period of really deep personal struggle. He found himself navigating this awful maze of failures, profound relationship challenges, and he even battled suicidal tendencies as the weight of the world just felt entirely too heavy. But here is the amazing part. Rather than letting those incredibly dark times consume him and dictate his future, he made a radical choice. He used them as a catalyst. He transitioned from grinding in the demanding BPO industry, took a massive leap of faith, and founded his 𝗕𝗵𝗁 blog in 2012. He literally decided that the acute pain he went through could, and absolutely should, be used to help other people navigate their own moments of darkness. And, well, fast forward to today, and he's recognized globally as a top voice and a relentless mentor of change. Because he chose to speak up, because he turned his pain into purpose, his 𝗕𝗵𝗁 insights and coaching have now reached and inspired individuals across more than 150 countries. To put that into perspective, that's nearly the entire globe. Moving from a place of deep, solitary personal struggle to an international stage, his journey is just undeniable proof of what happens when we absolutely refuse to give up. All right, moving into section 2, the equation for success. Let's really unpack this formula, because honestly, it's the engine of everything we're talking about today. E plus E equals R. Expectations plus efforts equals results. So Sohail teaches that if you want massive results, you have to start by setting giant expectations. But, and here's the catch, you can't just dream big, sit on the couch, and hope the universe magically delivers. You've got to match those giant expectations with equally massive efforts. The whole magic is in the alignment between the two. Think about it like a mid-level manager who's aiming for a huge promotion to vice president. If their expectation is VP, but their daily effort is just clocking in at 9, doing the absolute bare minimum, and checking out at 5, well, the effort doesn't match the giant expectation, does it? The result is inevitably going to fall short. They'll stay exactly where they are. But conversely, if your expectations are way too low to begin with, like say you're just hoping not to get fired, even giving maximum effort is only going to yield mediocre results because you aren't aiming at anything significant. You absolutely need both the expectation and the effort to be massive. So you might be wondering, how do you actually go about setting those giant expectations? According to Sohail, it all comes down to self-esteem. He says self-esteem is the root of all success. It makes perfect sense, right? If you fundamentally don't believe you are worthy of a massive result, you are never consciously going to set a massive expectation for yourself. I want you to just take a second and introspect right now. What invisible limitations are you currently placing on yourself? Where are you telling yourself things like, I can't do that, or I don't have the right background, or that's just not for someone like me? Breaking free from those specific self-imposed limitations is quite literally the only way to tap into your true underlying potential. You have to believe you deserve to stand on the peak before you can even begin the climb. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, Stories of Giant Expectations. Let's look at some real-world proof of this formula in action. Consider the crushing pressure of the Olympics compared to the sheer power of a massive internal expectation. Sohail points to the incredible Indian Olympian Neeraj Chopra. When Neeraj was preparing to throw the javelin, his mindset wasn't just, I hope I throw this far enough to secure a bronze or maybe a silver. No way. He had set an absolute giant of an expectation in his mind. He needed to hit at least 90 meters. And because his internal target was so incredibly high, his physical training, his strict diet, his biomechanical analysis, his entire mental focus, his absolute effort naturally matched that 90-meter expectation. He pushed his body to lengths he just wouldn't have if his goal was only 80 meters. And the result of that monumental alignment, he didn't just throw well. He secured India's first ever track and field Olympic gold. If his expectation had been lower, his effort would have scaled down right along with it, and history would have looked entirely different. We see this exact same math proven again in the deeply inspiring story of Arunima Sinha. Following a truly tragic train accident that resulted in her having an amputated leg, she could have easily, and honestly, very understandably, let society lower her expectations for her. She could have accepted a life of quiet limitations, but instead, she asked herself, what is something massive that hasn't been done yet by an amputee? She set the staggering, almost unthinkable expectation of climbing Mount Everest. And then, she matched that nearly impossible expectation with relentless, agonizing effort. Learning to walk again, training with a prosthetic limb, braving deadly conditions. The result? She didn't just conquer Everest. She went on to scale the 7 highest peaks across the entire globe. She turned her perceived weakness into her absolute greatest strength, simply by refusing to lower her E for expectation. And the sheer scale of what happens when massive effort meets massive expectation, it is perfectly encapsulated in the story of Dashrath Manjhi, widely known as the Mountain Man. After tragically losing his wife because a massive mountain geographically delayed her access to urgent medical help, he set an expectation that no one else in his village would ever suffer that agonizing fate again. His expectation? To literally carve a road straight through the solid rock mountain. His tools, nothing but a simple chisel and a hammer. For 22 years, he applied daily, bone-breaking effort to match his giant expectation. I mean, just imagine waking up every single day for over 2 decades, walking to a solid rock face and chipping away at it. 22 years. And you know what? He actually succeeded. He single-handedly carved a path 360 feet long and 30 feet wide, reducing a treacherous journey of hours into mere minutes. This is E plus E equals R in its rawest, most undeniable form. All right, Section 4, Unlocking Your True Potential. So we've seen monumental mountains in Olympic stadiums, but how do we actually apply this incredible mindset in the boardroom, our home offices, or just our daily grind? Sohail outlines some really powerful, actionable workplace strategies. First, you must actively build high self-esteem, not just within yourself, but within your entire team. Because when people feel valued, they naturally aim higher. Second, actively foster a culture of acknowledgement. Sohail stresses that simply acknowledging someone, genuinely recognizing those small daily achievements, can drastically boost their confidence and productivity. Think about a random Tuesday afternoon, right? An employee finishes a tough report. A simple, public, hey, incredible attention to detail on this, makes them feel truly seen. It elevates their self-esteem and, consequently, their future expectations. Finally, you got to develop the extra mile mindset. What does that actually look like? It means anticipating a client's question before they even ask it. It means delivering a project a day early with an extra layer of polish. When your baseline expectation is to habitually go the extra mile, your daily efforts elevate naturally, and your results will inevitably separate you from the pack. You stop operating as a replaceable employee, and you start operating as a premium brand. Sohail has this beautiful thought. He says, give to the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you. And that really captures the true heart of his mission. Because beyond the mathematical formulas and the strategic corporate maneuvers, Sohail's overarching mission is profoundly simple: to make humans more humane. He believes deeply in the power of empathy, social responsibility, and just pouring pure positivity into the people around you. When you deliberately choose to elevate others, when you give them your best effort and hold them to the best expectations, you inevitably elevate yourself in the process.
Finally, Section 5, Navigating with Confidence.
Listen, if you want to keep this momentum going, If you are ready to align your expectations and efforts starting right now, here is a clear, actionable plan for you. Step 1. Definitely go subscribe to the Confidence Compass newsletter. This is where you're going to get consistent, highly structured insights directly from Sohail to keep your self-esteem high and your expectations giant. Step 2. Follow Sohail Ahmed across social media at @mentorsohail. You'll get continuous, life-transformational content. And honestly, surrounding yourself with this kind of daily motivation is absolutely crucial. And step 3. If you are looking to truly elevate your entire organization, company, or team, invite Sohail Ahmed to speak and ignite your next event. Having a global mindset coach speak directly to your people could be the exact catalyst you need to shift their collective expectations and drive massive, unprecedented results. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've talked all about the math of success today. We've seen the undeniable proof in solid mountains carved by hand and global summits climbed against literally all odds. So now the spotlight is entirely on you. What is the one big expectation you will set for yourself today to do the impossible? Don't let this just be an explainer you watched passively. Let it be the exact moment your expectations fundamentally shifted. Keep learning, keep pushing those limits, and we will see you in the next explainer.